Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to NewsBeat Live's nightly broadcast. Quite a rally in the market today, if you were looking at it intraday off the day lows, of course, despite the fact that the triple Qs did end up closing red alongside the spiders. And why do I mention this today? You shouldn't be surprised, as I was saying from an algorithmic standpoint, that high volume could lead to higher moves when we're above ascending resistance. Now, if you looked earlier in the year, that basically never remained true. The red bars were always much larger than the green bars. And, the volume to sell was always much quicker than the volume to go up. So don't be surprised. I'm going back to the point, as I mentioned before, when you're trading above an ascending resistance line, and what's the point of me telling you this? The point of me telling you this is to basically describe to you how algorithms from the top firms on the earth are going to react in robotic fashion to this market, how they can buy and sell. That is basically why I'm talking about it, so it's more easily predictable. I also mentioned that low volume could, from this point forward, insinuate down moves in the market. So, what happened today? Well, it was kind of interesting. You were lied to by the United States government. Congratulations. Corruption at the United States government. So, what happened today? Why am I saying this corruption? Why am I talking about this corruption with the Department of Justice? Because first we saw the article coming out saying that the Department of Justice demanded sales of CNN prior to purchasing potentially Time Warner Cable. And then earlier in the day we were talking about it, how this is the first time that I have seen in my life, which I haven't been on this planet longer than some of you, and I have been longer on this planet than others, but in my modest career, I have never seen anything like this in the world. So what happened here? Well, AT&T wants to buy Time Warner. We know about that. And what happened was we saw a report came out of very credible places, Bloomberg, CNBC. We've heard of those places, right? Coming out basically saying that the Department of Justice demands that AT&T, if they want to buy Time Warner, has to sell CNN. And to me, that was basically the largest load of illegal manipulation and bullshit that I have ever seen come out of the Department of Justice, and again, in my life. If it happened, 70 years ago, I might have been unaware. I wasn't around then. I get it. But for me, in my modest career, it's the largest dose of bullshit. And I'm going to explain to you what happened, how it affected the market, most importantly, as this is not a political debate, how you could take advantage of it. You could talk politically as long as there's a strategy behind it. So first of all, when we were talking about this during the day, we saw the Department of Justice come out today, a government official, anonymously, which is bullshit, and I'll explain to you why, said that that we didn't ask CNN to be sold from AT&T. We didn't tell AT&T to sell CNN. No, we don't know where that came from. So you stop and you say, huh? First of all, I have news for you. Every time you contact the Department of Justice, everything is recorded. Every phone call, every conversation, every piece of paper is filed. There is nothing that goes on. I wouldn't even want to use their bathrooms. There is nothing that goes on that is not recorded at the Department of Justice. To have anonymity from a government official? Hello? Why is a government official allowed to speak on anonymity? That person should go to jail. Somebody did something illegal, but I don't really care. I'm not here to be the judge and jury of the corruption that just went on today in front of our faces. Why? If you are AT&T and you are looking to expand your media empire, why would you be forced to sell CNN? That makes no sense whatsoever. And in terms of anti-monopoly laws, I said to you guys earlier, I said I want to see the Department of Justice come out and say that the reason why they're denying this deal is because of anti-monopoly laws. And I want to actually see them say that, because there is so much media out there that would be a whole load of hogwash to even insinuate for 1 second that it was anti-monopoly laws. So instead of coming out and actually saying that, which I demanded that the Department of Justice should say, I mean, who am I, right? Ha. Who am I to demand from them? And then later in the day, we got a headline that, the AT&T CEO offered to sell CNN. Which is bullshit, because if you're trying to increase your media empire, you don't take your largest media company and sell it. That is the stupidest, most illogical thing that I have heard. So obviously something crooked is going on here. And why am I talking about this? Because look at what Time Warner did. What I am telling you is somebody in the Department of Justice leaked out information of what was going to happen in this deal, and they shorted Time Warner Cable, because this is fake news, real money. Fake news can translate into real dollars. Time Warner Cable dropped from last Thursday, 1 week ago, from $100, $99.85. Let's call it $100, okay? Dropped down to $86, basically a 14% drop in a week from Time Warner Cable. And you could think fake news. And this is not, and believe me, I could give two shits about what side of the political spectrum you're on. I don't care, where you lean, who you voted for. That means nothing to me. I do care if you're a good person. I hope you're a good person. That ultimately I believe people should be judged on. But the reason, and I am telling you the reason why they did this, why the Department of Justice did this, was political restraint. Earlier in the week, we saw, coincidentally, Disney was looking to buy out Fox News. Now, again, I don't really care what side of the aisle you're on or who you support. That means nothing to me. I don't want to know, nor do I care. But I will tell you this. Disney is a left-leaning company, and Fox is a right-leaning company. Or, conservative Fox, liberal Disney. Now, why is that important to know? Because if Disney buys Fox, every single anchor and every single person who's at least on the air on Fox would be fired. Every single one of them. And the same thing would hold true if, for example, if Fox bought, could you imagine Fox buying CNN? Every single person at CNN, every single anchor would be fired. Immediately. Replaced. Bait and switch. So, what is the point I'm making here? The point is, the Department of Justice, for the first time in its history, denied a merger, which is only supposed to be based on antitrust and anti-monopolization laws, over politics. This is over politics. And it is absolutely hilarious to know that the political bias of some of these networks are a factor in them when it comes to mergers and acquisitions. That is something. Welcome to the new America, ladies and gentlemen. I promise you've never seen that before. So what happens? Somebody at the Department of Justice speaks on anonymity, a government official speaking on anonymity. Maybe someone from the White House should speak on anonymity. anonymous sources, anonymous this, anonymous that. You could always make that up. But basically, the Department of Justice was trying to cover their own tracks and they scrambled. That's why you saw an anonymous source say that, AT&T wanted to sell CNN. They offered to sell CNN. Of course they didn't. Show me the transcript. Every single thing is recorded. I want to see the words of the CEO that were interpreted by the public somehow that the CEO of AT&T wanted to sell CNN. Of course he didn't. That was the whole point of buying Time Warner, is to consolidate and grow your media corporation, the media side of your business. You don't sell the most important asset of your business when you're trying to grow off that business. The Cleveland Cavaliers don't trade LeBron James when they're trying to build up their team. The Golden State Warriors don't get rid of Steph Curry and Kevin Durant to make their team stronger and grow their basketball empire. You don't do those things. But what happened is there's only one reason in the world I could think that this happened. Well, I know the reason is obviously politics. And by politics, I mean they didn't want, dare I just say, a left and right merger, oppositions of interests. So Fox shut up, TWX shut down. This is now what's the whole point of where I'm getting at. This is a buying opportunity. Don't be fooled to think for one moment that Time Warner Cable should be worth 14% less because some stupid, moronic, cheating, corrupt jackass at the Department of Justice decided to leak information to somebody inevitably and create a bullshit fake news story to manipulate this stock price. Don't think so for one moment. I want to know who was shorting this. Every single transaction is recorded. I want to know how the stock dropped 14%. I want to know this. When the market was making all-time highs here, why did Time Warner all of a sudden drop 6 points with no news? That's a lot of consecutive red down days, coincidentally, leading up to that. Now, as traders, we're just the average Joe when it comes to the power structure of this ladder. This is why I want to explain to you that Time Warner Cable is a buy. And I'll explain it analogically, and similar to how I did in chat earlier. If you own a painting, and your painting's worth $100, somebody comes up to you and wants to buy that painting for $150, but the Department of Justice comes up and says, no, you're not allowed to buy that painting. If you want to buy Mark's painting, you have to sell another one of you have to sell your Picasso painting if you want to buy Mark's painting. Obviously, the person who wanted to buy from me is like, what? Excuse me? What did you say? No, I never said that. And all of a sudden, my painting drops in value from $100 to $86, now trading at $87. Would you think for one moment that my painting should be more valuable or less valuable after that news came out? My opinion is it should be worth more money. Maybe even more than what was being offered to me initially. Because in the stock market, nobody buys out somebody else without helping their own bottom line. In the market, if a stock's worth, if you feel the value of a stock is worth $50, you don't buy it for $50. If you're swinging a stock and you think it's worth $50, you're paying $30, $20, $40, $35 if you think it's worth $50. So I'm making up numbers here. If AT&T did want to buy Time Warner and they were going to offer $150 per se, that means to AT&T, Time Warner is worth, and when it comes to market, probably at least $250, $300. The market doesn't buy a company at $150 if they feel it's worth $175. As traders, we will do that. AT&T, a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, is not going to do that. So right now we have an opportunity where Time Warner plummeted in value thanks to some corrupt official, anonymously speaking, at the Department of Justice. Can the Department of Justice open up an investigation at the Department of Justice? What if I told you Time Warner Cable is on support right here? Next target to Time Warner Cable, $90. Modest, right? $3 higher. Modest. $90 next target, Time Warner Cable. And that's short term. That's very short term. And then maybe we had higher from there. It's resting on support, as you could see right here. Trendline support. What changed with Time Warner's business model on this whole plummet? Nothing. And you know what's going to happen? The same schmucks who had access to that illegal information and that corrupt and fake information, if I were them, I would cover my position. So we'll see what happens. Moving on from there. Let's go over some of the names I'm watching. So I wasn't here the other day. It's good to be back. Let's go over my game plan, and if you wish to copy my stock game plan, well, you just go ahead and you hit print screen. Okay. So, okay. So let's start off, ladies and gentlemen, with MGM. We had the casinos definitely in play recently. Then we're going to talk about some of the earnings names. And we're going to start off here, ladies and gentlemen, with MGM. So you see what happened on MGM yesterday. We saw that we had a really, really nice pop-up. So MGM did report. The earnings impressed Wall Street. I never like to say beat or didn't beat. I think too many people are a little delusional when it comes to that, because a lot of people insinuate that if a company beats on earnings that they had higher. I wouldn't say that's even true half the time. Maybe it's true half the time. There's no correlation between a company beating on earnings and going up in value, or missing on earnings and going down in value. That is one of the big fallacies in the market, because even they beat on revenues and they missed on earnings per share by 8 cents, and they went up, right? It's wherever the market wants to bring it. Just remember that. Nice little, as we like to say, bullish doji sandwich here. Goldman Sachs came out yesterday, basically said buy MGM on any weakness. You're putting an inside candle, meaning today's range didn't break yesterday's high or low. You digested on volume. I love the increase in volume here in the inside doji. Doji is the name of this candlestick, just a fancy word for a plus sign. And I think that MGM is going to head higher. Moving along on my game plan, I'm going to go to Roku. Nice job, Gilbert, on this one. Watching this one, you're getting a nice move after hours. All-time high in the name, $29.80. I think you're going to shoot through $30 tomorrow. Great job on the Roku. If you weren't watching this Roku, or you were unsure what happened, they beat on earnings. They reported 10 cents versus a consensus loss of $1.40. They saw full year 2017 revenue, that's obviously ending within a month, to exceed 500 million versus a consensus of 485. And they just talked really bullishly across the board, and it's looking great. I don't see any reason why this thing doesn't get to $32.50. I like what you're watching here. It was a good heads up intraday by Gilbert on Roku. Definitely getting rewarded after hours. You should get further rewarded in the morning, in my opinion. Moving on along, Overstock. So, taking a look at Overstock here, very, very, very interesting name, and the stock basically was exploding They basically beat on earnings. Their website was actually doing well. I believe that their blockchain, and let's make it simpler, their way, I think you're going to drive up demand in cryptocurrency. I think cryptocurrency is going to get drive up demand from this point forward, just based on the fact that you have SEC regulated exchanges. The government loves to control things, illegally sometimes, even like the price of Time Warner Cable, with not following their own guidelines and laws and using political biases to influence their decisions at the expense of AT&T, who owns CNN. But looking at a name like Overstock here, this is an SEC regulated thing. So this is basically the first step in having the government say that we are endorsing the buying and selling of cryptocurrencies. And Overstock was one of the names we're watching at $29. We were extremely bullish on it. So many of us capitalized and did so well in this name. And we were buying it over here, basically, in basically almost near the last days of September, basically starting October. And you could see in a month and a week, the stock basically went from 29 and change to $52.40. So just an astronomical move, and congratulations to all those still holding it and all those, of course, who profited on it. Watching Overstock for follow through to the upside. On a technical basis on Overstock, I do also want to mention that you have a trigger at 54.46, which is minor. It could get you 58.24. But if you hit 58.24, you can get $70.35. Keep in mind, this is the biggest deal for the company ever in history, and it's still trading way off the all-time highs from back in 2004 at $77.18. Moving on along from Overstock, I'm watching SEDG. That's Sam Edward Derek Gary. SEDG, Solar Edge Technologies. What a beautiful gap up today, closing right near the day highs. I love when these stocks do it. What happened? They reported earnings, of course. Crushing street estimates across the board, getting gapped up, getting 4 upgrades today from B. Riley, Roth Capital, Canaccord, and JP Morgan, upgrading their price targets on this name. Very strong hold up here. I think solar is sexy again, as we were talking about First Solar recently when we put our $100 target on First Solar, if you recall. Stock has moved up pretty lovely since then, just in a small grind, maybe not as nice as Overstock, but nonetheless, obviously, I'm bullish on solar. I think this one deserves some attention, so keeping that one on the radar. And last but not least, I do have a bearish company, responsible for, destroying the planet. Most evil company ever. That's just my opinion. But taking a look at Monsanto here, bearish engulfing bar, breaking underneath a trendline support here, bearish doji, as we say. I think you could get follow through to the downside. Stock started getting beat up recently, not for destroying the planet and being responsible for potentially hundreds of millions of deaths. No, that's not why it went down. Basically, their earnings per share missed, unfortunately, and they, just not looking good on the earnings side. They did pretty bad in Europe. Maybe Europe doesn't allow chemtrails to be sprayed. Could that be it? Not making enough money there at the expense of humans? Okay. Nonetheless, looking for a short in Monsanto because it's a bearish setup. You're breaking major ascending support. While the moving averages are crossing down, that's why I'm looking to short it. And honestly, if they sold, organic produce and donated to charities and they had a chart pattern like this, I'd probably still look to short it. So don't think it's anything personal, Monsanto. And that is what is on my game plan setup. I also have Forex trades. Didn't get a lot of Forex fills recently, but again, I will promise you that is completely random. There are times where these Forex orders just go off like crazy, and we just keep getting filled. The point is to be consistent. Every single trade I give you, I'm trying to be right over 70% of the time. So I know that these orders, if they get filled, I know I can be right 70% or more of the time. Sometimes it's 90%. But as long as I'm right 7 out of 10 times, I know the parameters within myself for my own practice, what makes me right that often. And these trades are meant to be right that often. Didn't get a fill in a few weeks now. Again, that is extremely rare. To me, it doesn't even faze me. For me, I'm fighting for my price. If I get it, I get it. If I don't, I'm not chasing it. So if you wish to copy my Forex trades from a very massive account, a very consistent account, and I'm giving you literally my buy or sell, as you see on the left-hand side. You see my size. These are standard lots. This is the symbol. This is the price in which I'm trying to buy it or short it at. That's my entry price. SL is my stop loss, and TP is my take profit. You don't need to know anything about Forex, not even how to spell it, to be able to utilize this list effectively. At least that's what people told me. So, with that being said, if any of you guys on YouTube have any questions, you can email me, and I will answer you after every single person in my room gets their question across. Okay, let's see. I missed you guys. Hey Barbara, TWX was supposed to be bought by you can't remember who. That's why it's at the levels before the drop. It was $80 before that news. That is correct. But and that is an excellent point, first of all, and I want to tell you why I still feel the way I do. Because the market has gone up significantly since this thing has pulled up. So if you actually look right now, ironically, this thing is trading basically near the same levels as it was, back before Trump won the election. And the market has rallied since the election. And this stock rallied too, and now is pulling back to those pre-election levels. If you, what was the election? November 9th, I believe? November 8th, November 9th? Whatever it was. And the stock was in the high 80s, basically exactly where it is now. So I still think it's undervalued, but that is an excellent point. Hey, Biker, trip was horrible, so I wasn't a fan of it. For me, I'm really tall, so, I don't fly first class because it's just, I don't know. I just don't believe in it, I guess. Don't believe in paying that money to fly first class. But I do get like economy or whatever, economy plus, whatever it is. And what happens is the problem is like I'm almost 6'4". So when the person in front of me puts their seat back, I basically have to man spread that entire trip. And because I was in an aisle seat, and I would I've heard the term man spread before. I have to spread my legs, otherwise I'm going to break my knees. So like I man spread, and then this woman, is it bad to call her a hostess or a flight attendant or I couldn't give a shit of the politically correct term. She's a female airline employee, and she was pushing the huge metal cart, and she would hit my leg every time. And I would keep asking her. I was like, oops. I'm like, sorry. And I'm like, that's okay. Could you just watch out? I'm like, I would love to put my knees in, but, it's like physically impossible. And then I was in San Fran. I got to spend, a 2-hour trip to the hotel from the airport. And then I just literally passed out, woke up, went to a meeting, and then I went to a meeting with my luggage and just literally jumped back on a plane. So, 5 hours of travel for every 1 hour of not traveling. That was my experience. Chemtrails, that is new. It's not so new. Twilio. Okay, so something interesting happened with Twilio tonight. Something interesting happened with Twilio. And besides the fact that they sucked on earnings, there was a hacking incident that has potentially happened. I think we're going to hear more about it probably tomorrow. They actually moved the stock up after hours. The stock looks very bearish to me, nonetheless. If you were looking for a short tomorrow, I don't think it'll go up that high, but if it does, $28.18 is where I short this thing. In Tesla, I'm still bearish on it. I was bearish over here. This is where I first started going bearish. It went up and it went down, and then earnings happened. And as I was telling you guys before, it's going to be impossible for them to report good earnings. Now, to me, you got this little rising wedge, and you sort of resolved underneath it. I'm still bearish on this thing. I don't see any reason why Tesla doesn't break underneath $280. Mankind, that's MNKD, neutral. I mean, you basically went sideways for the past few weeks. I am completely neutral on Mankind. No thoughts or opinions. My buy point is $1.89, which is significantly lower than where it's trading. Still looks bullish overall, but this whole move is neutral. I mean, you are still off of a bull flag. So overall, it looks bullish. Like swing wise, I could see it going higher, but it's like you're just in this little tug of war where it's going to be almost impossible to time, I guess is what I'm saying. YRD, finally, nice pop. Bullish engulfing bar, basically breaking the prior day's low and high. We have to see if we could hold it. Very important tomorrow that you hold above $42.02. That's the key level to hold above tomorrow to remain bullish. You said you don't have a buy, but today 90%. All right. So Ken is saying, I said I don't have a biased eye when it comes to Forex, but to date, over 90% of my Forex orders have been buy limits. Just want to say, are you sure there are no bearish Forex setups? Well, for example, I gave right here 9 setups, and 2 of them are sell orders in the Euro, US dollar, New Zealand, Canadian dollar. And I'm telling you that is again an absolute coincidence. Because it's basically just based on the chart. So like for example, if I show you like a monthly of some of these currencies, like here's a monthly of the Aussie dollar, Canadian dollar, right? Overall bullish. Aussie Swiss bearish, bullish. Maybe I should go to the yearly. Bearish. I don't know. These are yearlies. Bullish, 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 bearish, bullish. Doesn't really mean much because I'm not really basing it off a yearly. Point I'm making is I am positive that there is no bias in my looks. Just recently, it just feels like the majority of things have been going much higher and we're buying opportunities on pullbacks. I don't have a smart answer for that. I either see something that works 70% of the time or I don't. And that's pretty much how I look at it. So these are my orders. I don't really think it matters much. If we're making money, right? What does it matter? But in my head, at least, I could tell you I do not believe I have a bias to the long side, despite the fact that looking at the majority of my trades, you would feel that bias exists. But in my head, it doesn't exist. When I'm looking at these charts, I'm not thinking like, oh, I have to long something here. So I guess that's the best way I can answer him. I blew your mind with TWX. Thanks, Josh. Well, again, I'll talk like that if I think it's going to lead into a trade. Otherwise, I couldn't care to talk about stuff like that. But we see it happening right in front of our face. No news outlet. I'm not speaking talking points out of any news outlets. I'd love to see the news outlet that referred to this like I did. I guarantee you none of them exist out there. And to me, it's obvious, and it comes out later. Like a lot of the things I talk about, you'll see all of a sudden, like 3 weeks from now, a month from now, they'll start talking about it, if they do at all. But I mean, it's very obvious what happened here with Time Warner Cable, AT&T, and the Department of Justice. I mean, look, like I said, it doesn't really matter how you feel about CNN or Fox. The fact is that the Department of Justice tried to screw over AT&T because for political reasons. They were, I mean, if AT&T buys Time Warner, does that make that side of the aisle more powerful? I mean, yes, but that's something you have to live with. Everybody's entitled to have their own political beliefs. In America, everybody has the right to believe in whatever they want. And if you believe in, honesty and openness, this sort of corruption, regardless of where you stand, should piss you off, like it did me. So on Netflix, Disney was. I mean, Netflix isn't moving right now. Disney, they popped it up. Um, I just thought it was well priced just because it was well priced. Like, without sounding too obvious. I mean, the other Friday you had a 4.5 point move. Another one of the Fridays you only had a 3.5 point move, approximately. And then I see a Friday right here, like on October 6th, where you had almost a $7 move. And these are non-earning Fridays. And then another Friday, 3.5 points. So, for me, I think it was a good risk reward. I don't think we're going to get too beaten up on this strangle on Netflix. I don't have any. I mean, to me, it looks bullish overall, Kathy, because now you're on support. So I think we should head back up higher. Oh, and on my ride back. So on my ride back, I don't know what it is. So, like, I'm on the flight on the ride back, and I look behind me, and this dude is like crouching in his seat, where it's like, if your ass is up the seat, it's not pulled all the way back, so you're like leaning forward. And I didn't put my seat back. And I looked at the dude, and I saw how he was sitting, and I saw he was a larger dude like myself. And I said, I'm not going to put my seat back. And I didn't put my seat back on the first spot of the trip either. And yes, everybody has the right to put their seat back, but for God's sake, if you're on a flight, can you at least just turn around, look at the person, ask them if it's okay? Nobody's ever going to tell you no, all right? Hey, can I put my seat back? No, can't do it. Nope, not happening. Sorry, thanks for asking. Nobody's going to talk to you like that. It's courtesy, because what happens is you're going to sit in front of a dude like me, and you're going to yank your seat back, and you're going to break my knees. And it's like, you're not in the mafia. I didn't do anything that, warranted you breaking my knees. And then, of course, on my second flight, somebody just randomly slams his seat all the way back, and like, it's my knees, and I'm like, ow! He doesn't even turn around. He didn't even have his headset, and he was just like, he just didn't react. I was like, okay, time to man spread and hope that my knees. So when I man spread in the aisle, I always have to look in the front and back to make sure none of the, employees are walking down or somebody going to the bathroom, because otherwise I might trip them. I don't know. Problems. Don't fly American Airlines. Was I? No, United. I was on United. Don't fly United. They were very nice, but I don't know. I'm not flying them for a long time if I can help it. Sounds like Curb Your Enthusiasm this week, Larry David on a plane. That's funny. I didn't see. I didn't see that episode, Mike. I used to watch Curb Your Enthusiasm and I loved it. Truth was, I was never a big Seinfeld fan. I know a lot of you guys like, oh my God, Seinfeld is like comedy genius, and okay, I respect that. But Larry David wrote Seinfeld, and he's probably the funniest Jewish guy on the planet. Twilio, yeah. Thoughts on Regeneron? It's moved big the past couple days. So on Regeneron, yeah, I have thoughts on Regeneron, and it's trying to hold up here. I mean, for me, you got back above ascending support. Very key level to hold above tomorrow, $405.80 if you're going to remain bullish for me in this one. No, on the YRD, I was literally using trendline resistance here. And basically, if you remain over this trend line, which is just over like $42, you can make a bullish argument for this. So no, it was neither a closing price or an intraday level. Priyanka, Johnson and Johnson, bullish overall. Tomorrow, true resistance is 141.59. In the middle of a range, I don't see an edge here. iRobot, very bearish. 68.96 tomorrow, and I'll buy puts. I'm going to go ahead and set an alert, and I'll let you know in real time if that level does come. But that's where I would look to short iRobot tomorrow. 68.96. Target bullish engulfing candle. What is going on here? I know I came in late today because I came in right off the plane. CVS Health. Naloxone is now available without prescription in several states. Great. Opioid overdose reversal medication. This is how bad the opioid epidemic is, that they're making opioids, they're making reversal medications for opioids without an individual prescription. So if you're, strung out on drugs and you need a quick fix, you don't need your doctor to say you're allowed to take it. That's lovely. Thank you. Big bullish engulfing bar, but you did fail on resistance here in target. 59.95, the critical level to hold above today. If you're going to break out to the upside, and you have a very good chance of doing that tomorrow, keep an eye for upgrades. Amgen, bearish, level to short tomorrow, 175.26. It is holding above the 200 though, so I don't short it there personally. I would ignore it. It's too hard to say if it's going to hold this 200 or it's going to hit resistance and fall. I would say you're dealing with a coin flip here. My opinion on Amgen. Alibaba. Remember what I said this day. Too bullish for its own good, and it needs to digest in. I guess it did digest in ever since I made that call. You're in the mid-upper end of this range here. I don't see a big edge in buying Baba or shorting Baba here. I ignore it. Alta Salon, bearish, can't get above descending resistance. If you asked me where to short it today, I would have told you $201.26. The high of the day, $201.28. This is a short, in my opinion. If it's going to be bullish tomorrow, it has to hang above $200.39 to remain bullish tomorrow. Interesting. So you make more money on the shorts, but you're also doing intraday, Ken. You're also doing intraday, which you're doing trades that I'm not doing. So you're also doing more trades. What is my long-term target on TWX? I don't see any reason why TWX doesn't go back to $100. My long-term target. It's a good question, Priyanka. Oh, goodness. If one of us did 10%, Kathy, of that. Any thoughts on Pet IQ? So I think I called this one out today, breaking on. It broke support here today. This is bearish. This is the first time I'm bearish, really, on Pet IQ. Short level would be 23.53. Again, just so we're clear, I'm turning bearish on Pet IQ. This is the first break of a major ascending support line in existence for this stock. Pet IQ, I thought those utilities would take the price. Is that why it turned bearish today, Pet IQ? They reported November 6 after the close, so here's how it acted on earnings after the close. A loss of 2 cents compared to the consensus 14 cents, but they beat on revenue 60.6 million versus 57.81. Hard to say. Looks bearish though to me, Kathy. Target, yeah, we went over target. Lulu, That's beautiful. That's a beautiful breakout. That's a beautiful breakout on Lulu. And $64.81 will be your trigger. 64.81. My pleasure on Baba. Twitter. So I dumped my Twitter today when we popped up. Took a nice profit on it. The reason I dumped my Twitter today is don't get scared. I plan on buying it back, but with further out is because I had next week's options. And the stock literally broke through 2020 today, and I took off most of my calls. I sold out, I think, what was it, like 70 cents? So I don't know, made like a little less than 50% profit on the calls. Nothing nice, but nothing super major. I'm just going to buy back the December calls here. I love this formation. I still think it's going to my $24 target. Yeah, I still think we get to $24. I'm looking forward to buying more Twitter. I just didn't do it tonight. I'm probably going to do it next week. If it starts going tomorrow, I will chase it, by the way. I mean, the key level to hold above for a bull flag continuation pattern, which could insinuate the retest of 2196, would be $20.11 tomorrow, and it's already 2004 in the pre-market. Keep that in mind. I'm going to play TW. Yeah, I'm going to look at TWX. I'm going to decide how to play it, but what a joke. The Department of Jokes. That's what the DOJ is. Department of Jokes. Department of Corruption. The Department of Politically Biased. Oh, God, I have so many choice words for them. Look. You want to run politics on your news networks? You're going to do it. You want to run politics in a newspaper? You're going to do it. You want to run politics at the Department of Justice? I have a little bit of a problem with that. But they did create a buying opportunity for us, and I'm going to take advantage of what they corruptly did to this company. If I was TWX, I would file the biggest, oh my God, I would blow the roof off the Department of Justice. I would file like such a lawsuit, and believe me, they have the lawyers. Like, that's all I'm saying. An anonymous source said CNN wanted AT&T wanted to sell CNN, an anonymous source. Well, that's good because all the records of all your conversations with AT&T, 100% of them are all recorded. So show me it. Don't show it to me, show it to the FBI. How's that? Don't show it to me, show it to the Supreme Court. Show it to them. Don't show it to me. Show it to them. Let them look at it and say, "Oh, okay. They did say that or they didn't say that." Because I highly doubt the AT&T CEO said anything along those lines about Time Warner Cable. Corruption at its finest. You heard it here first. Let's see if anything's going to be done about it. I know what I'm going to do about it. I'm going to make money off it, but it's disgusting. Really is disgusting. That's hilarious, Biker. I did not see that 60-minute piece. I'm going to definitely watch it. You're on YouTube. There's a 60-minute piece on the opioid addiction, and Congress let it happen, and the Drug Enforcement Agency, the DA, wanted to arrest everyone. The Congress made a new law for bios. Yep. Well, that's drug money. This is Department of... Oh. I'm not saying one's better than the other, but what am I doing with Nvidia tomorrow? So I do have a call spread and a put spread on it, which Nvidia's at 211.90. I mean, for me, I don't know. I mean, if it opens up at 212, maybe I'm down a little. Is what I'm thinking. If it gets to like 215, 216, 217, I should probably be up money. So I'll decide. I'll look at the options in the morning, make a hopefully a clever decision. Straight puts on the earnings was the trade. And you called that one, Kathy. Peter, do I have a good long level for Symantec? Yes. Tomorrow, 2761. Let me just double check and make sure I have an alert so I can alert you in real time. You could always set it too. But yeah, this trend line over here, Peter, and if this trend line ever hits, this one right here, this one doesn't mean anything. This one right here, that's a trend line. That level hits, it's from the weekly. That will be, I'll join you on that one. Shop. I was bearish on that one. Yeah, and I continue to be bearish on this one. Again, I think Shop breaks under $90 again. I know a lot of you guys were watching this move, and a lot of you guys made money on the long side. I'm not saying that on these bearish setups that you don't have up moves. I mean, almost every single bearish setup in history has an up move in it. Look at Priceline, you know. Kathy, you made money on this Priceline. Do you want to really look at this chart and say Priceline is bullish? Not really, but you took advantage of it and you played it correctly, so great job. It's all about where you buy and where you sell. Even though I will admit, I did see Priceline going to 1700 today. Maybe we hit the exponential 8 and then go down, so maybe we even climb higher. Hope it works. Yeah, I agree, Peter, in hindsight for sure. I was hoping they would drop it on earnings and then pop it up. Sprouts Farmers Market. Bullish. You're in the middle of a range, but I'm still bullish overall based on the recent breakout, the positive fundamentals, the positive news, the fact that I still believe they're a takeout target. Yeah. Okay. Now let's see if you guys... Okay. All right. So again, if you guys are in chat and you wish to copy any of my levels here, you can feel free to screenshot it. If you're in the room, obviously you had it in your email box already, right prior to this broadcast beginning. But I hope you guys enjoyed the NewsBeat live trading broadcast. Happy trading, make money, and we'll see you guys tomorrow morning on the NewsBeat live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.